Welcome back. Coming up to 37 minutes after 3 o'clock, this is GB News. We are the People's Channel and Nana Akua. This is something I wanted to talk about because I'm reading all about it. And when my bank said to me, you can use your voice to access your account, I thought this is a bit creepy. But is artificial intelligence being weaponised by scammers to trick people into sending them money? Now, that's exactly what's happened to a Florida investor called Clive. A software program impersonated his voice, trying to trick his bank into transferring money into the hands of fraudsters. And according to experts, as many as 500,000 video and voice dead fakes or deep fakes will be shared on social media this year. So should we be worried about AI stealing our identities? Well, joining me now is the lawyer and futurist Andrew Eborn. Andrew, my bank said, would you like to use your voice? I said, yeah, why not? I've changed my mind.
I think that's a very wise move. We are living in a very diseased information age at the moment, where AI can basically replicate anything that we can do. It can replicate your voice, your image, the way that you walk and so on and so forth. And it's really, really dangerous times. I often say it's our greatest human achievement, but also the biggest potential existential threat. And what I do, I talk around the world, as you know, about AI. I've just come back from Cannes, where I was hosting the Drama Awards, and it was front and centre, obviously, about actors and the writers' strike and so on and so forth, because everybody's afraid they're going to get replaced. And I think it was Goldman Sachs said 300 million jobs will be lost to AI. At the same time, we've got all sorts of wonderful revolutions in terms of medicine, in terms of what you can do with voices and properly licensed and so on and so forth. But you should be very scared. You need to understand how the technology works and harness that and make sure there are appropriate safeguards.
Because I remember I was listening to a thing about AI and the voice AI, and the reason why it sort of failed in the past was not because it was not able to replicate the voice, but because of the soundings in the background, which gave it away. So they fixed the soundings in the background. There was never a problem with the voice at all. And now it's a real thing. And I'm wondering why banks are actually offering it, knowing this. Because what insurance is there for someone like me? My voice is on lots of things. Anyone could easily take it and try and manipulate it. What assurances or what protections are
that's the problem. And voice is the most difficult to identify as a fake. There are lots of fake videos out there. There are lots of fake pictures. And normally there are clues, giveaways. So there's the fake Pope, if you might remember, in a puffer. So devil may wear Prada, but the Pope likes a puffer. And you can tell that because the fingers are not quite right or the glasses are a little bit distorted. But with voice, it's very, very difficult. And there's a wonderful lab called 11 Lab, which we've been working with the Royal Television Society. They came along and gave a talk. And you can basically replicate exactly somebody's voice, and you can also translate it in real time. So if you have a commentator, for example, do you remember Murray Walker used to do the racing? Yeah. He had wonderful, excited passion about the commentary. Yeah. I went abroad many times, and some of the local commentators were a bit more pedestrian, let's put it that way. You could now have Murray Walker's voice in any language, and it would sound as though he's speaking as though he were a native. So it is really incredible. The dangerous thing is this, is that it can absolutely, in a matter of seconds, pick up all of your intonations and basically replicate those on a phone call. So if somebody phones up and says it's a long-lost relative or whatever, I've lost all my money using somebody else's phone, but you recognise the voice, you may well transfer money, which is a lot of what people have done. So very, very tricky.
Or they could replicate a family member.
Yeah.
So say, like, your son or daughter say, oh, come and pick me up, or come...
Absolutely.
And it's not really real.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I was thinking...
But you've got to call them. What you need to do is you then call them and check.
Call the numbers. I would also recommend, we can do this on your show, you can be a campaign, people should have a safe word. Is that if you turn around and say banana or elephant or whatever you want to try and do is your safe word to make that make sense so that they know it's really you, we can make that make sense.
Or you could have a oobla, boobla, doobla, doobla, like as a safe word.
I think that should be your safe word.
But then would the AI learn that? It would learn that.
Well, as long as you don't disclose it to anybody else in anywhere that these devices can hear you listening and so on and so forth. So I would work on the basis, work out something secret. But it was, I told you, I mean, Equity, they've got the sort of Stop AI stealing the show because actors are so worried that they're going to lose, basically, their rights to do it. And you had Obi-Wan Kenobi, James Rodney Earl, who did the voice of Darth Vader. That was replicated by AI, but he basically licensed the right to do it. Tom Hanks, very recently, was in a dental plan commercial, which he didn't license, but it was a deep fake of him on that sort of basis. But you might get something like Bruce Willis, who can no longer act because of aphasia. And he basically licensed the Russian telecom company for millions of dollars to use his name and image. So it is possible, but you need to control exactly what's happening.
Andrew, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to see you.
That is Andrew Eborn. He's there. He's a broadcaster and a lawyer. lawyer and a futurist, and that's all AI.